Hello everybody on YouTube. I hope you guys are all doing really well. So this is a short video about 10 things that I do not like about my Ninja 300. Okay, so let me tell you that this is a 2018 model. This is the one with the ABS, and I got it in the month of October, and I've done approximately 12,900 kilometers so far on this bike. And so based on my riding experience of the last 2 years, let me walk you through what all things I do not like about it. Let's start with the front. Let's look at these headlights. So yeah, these are regular halogen bulbs, as you can see. They are pretty much okay on the streets as well as on the highways. But there are motorcycles which are priced literally half than this, and you get projector headlamps on those. Bajaj Pulsar RS200, Royal Enfield Thunderbird 350, the Thunderbird 500, they all get projector headlights. So I believe Kawasaki could have given projector headlights, if not LED. I know LED, they will have to redesign the whole internal part of it so that the light is properly reflected on the road. But then they could have given at least the projectors, is what I think. Next thing is the brakes. There are many people who complain about the brakes. Luckily on my bike, it's not as bad as others. Kawasaki has decided to go with endurance. I don't know why didn't they go with Nissin or with Brake for that matter. But then, this motorcycle is very capable of taking you to triple-digit speeds in literally no time. So when you are at that kind of a speed, you would definitely want the brakes to perform better, But then these feel little soggy. I have ridden my friend's Ninja 300 and he got it like 6 months after I did. But then the brakes on his motorcycle are pathetic. There is hardly any feel. You have to literally grab handful, even if you are at like speeds like 40-50 kilometers per hour and you want to bring it to a stop, you have to grab a handful. Luckily it's not the case on this, but then yes, I would have definitely preferred better brakes. The next thing I would want to talk about is the instrument console. Look at this. It's so basic. It just has two trip meters, trip 1, trip 2, and then the odo, and nothing else. There is no gear position indicator, there is no distance to empty, there is no fancy thing, nothing at all. It's as basic as it can get. You have one neutral light, the ABS light, the engine check light, and then the blinkers, one on this side, one on that side, and that's it. So I wish Kawasaki could have done slightly better with this instrument console at the least, given it something more than what you are getting it. Okay, moving on to these mirrors. They look very fancy. Let me show it to you from the other side as well. So these mirrors, they look very fancy. They go very well with the whole design philosophy of this motorcycle, but that's when the story ends. It's not very usable when you want to see what's behind you, because most of the times, let me show it to you by sitting on this bike once. So if you can see the mirror from here, you see half of the mirror is being covered by my hands alone, and then there is hardly half of the mirror which is left to show me what's behind. And because of the curvature of this, it does not cover a lot of detail, it does not cover a lot of area from whatever is there in the background. So I would definitely have preferred slightly better mirrors. Maybe an aftermarket mirror which will not look so good could be another option which I can possibly go with. But for now, I'm using this because they look good. That's the only thing. Next thing is this whole side fairing part, the whole cowl design and all of this. I'm not saying that there's any problem with that. No, the build quality is exceptionally well. This is very sturdy. It feels good. And the quality of plastic and fiber that Kawasaki has used is exceptionally good. My only concern is that if I want to work on this bike, it's a pain in the to open this whole thing up. You see one bolt here, 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 one is down here, one is over here, and then first to take this whole thing out, it takes a lot of time and effort. I remember having a CBR 250R, and for me to pull out this whole side fairing, it would take hardly 7 to 8 minutes, because there were only 3 Allen bolts here and there. You just take them out and the fairing would come out, and you can easily access the engine part, and you can work on it if you want to. But on this motorcycle, yeah, it's very complicated. And on similar lines, the next thing is that due to the design of this fairing, It's very difficult to put or to mount a frame slider, you know. So the aftermarket frame slider, the cheaper ones that you get for like $60-70, you know, they mount directly on the engine. They will mount somewhere here or on this. One would be here, one would be on these two bolts, and this is essentially the engine alone. So, you know, in case of a fall, more than protecting the fairing, more than protecting the frame and all of it, that thing is going to damage the engine directly. And there are RNG frame sliders which are really good. They run all the way from there to this. You see this one here and this bolt here. So they run all the way. There would be a rod which would run this way, and then you will have the frame slider running in from here or somewhere here. And those are pretty expensive. They are really expensive. So again, because of this fairing design, you are really restricted to buy frame sliders. You definitely have to buy the expensive ones. You cannot go with the cheaper ones that are there in the market. My next complaint is this thing right here. You see this thing near the high beam, low beam switch, toggle switch. So this part here was meant to be a hazard light switch. And again, as I was talking about the complexities, even if you want to fit an aftermarket one, even if you want to do it on your own at home by sorting the two blinkers left and right, getting a switch of this type, it's next to impossible. You cannot get a switch of this type in the market. So you definitely have to fit an extra switch somewhere here or this side or wherever you prefer. So that's one more complaint, when Kawasaki could have given a hazard light switch at least, you know, that would have made more sense. Next complaint is the pillion seat, this thing right here. So this is the stock seat, pillion seat. Okay, now let's see. Do you see this? Can you hear the sound? This is because the seat is designed in such a way, the internal of the seat, these risers, you know, this should have been a little bit higher. This should have been a little bit higher here, and this lock-in mechanism should have been a little more up. The reason is that these things don't stick properly on these two panels, and because of that it does not fit flat, and then it makes this rattling noise. This is not good. So to overcome this, what I have done is I have just put a rag, a piece of cloth here, so that it keeps the seat little up, and then it does not shake. You see, it's not shaking anymore. So that's one more point. And then if I go nitpicking, this is something which I do not like a lot. What is there not to like? They could have given at least a mud flap on the rear tire. You know, what happens is in monsoons, in bad roads, in muddy roads, you can see how much mud it has splashed. It has come all over till here. That too, I did not go on a very muddy surface at all. There was hardly any mud on the road from which I went, and still look at how much mud it has splashed onto the rear. If I go through a very bad mud surface, then definitely it would spill all the way from here up to the rider. If I'm wearing a backpack or a jacket, it will just get screwed, and God forbid if you have a pillion, their jacket is going to be completely screwed up. And moving on to these blinkers. These are bulb type blinkers. They do the job, but then the price at which you get this bike, Kawasaki could have definitely given you LED blinkers. You know, it would have made much more sense to give LED blinkers on this motorcycle.
So yeah, there you have it, guys. So these are the top 10 things which I do not like in my Ninja 300. Don't get me wrong, as a package, as a complete motorcycle, this bike is amazing. You know, the levels of refinement that it has, the build quality that it offers, all the plastic fiber parts, it's exceptionally good. There is no panel gap that you would find on this motorcycle whatsoever. So it's a very, very good motorcycle. But then, as I said, that these are the things that I do not like personally on my bike, and I would have loved to see those changes which I talked about, those things to be improved. And I hope you guys liked it. I hope some of you may find it useful. If you have any suggestions, feedback, comments, complaints, whatever it is, do let me know. I will try to improvise as I go along. I will try to improve things as I proceed, making further more videos. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a really good time. Stay safe, ride safe, wear a helmet please. Doesn't matter how short rides you're going for. Thank you very much.